Well, hey, what's up, creep? Thanks for tuning in to Channel 99 today. We've got the second episode with Amanda. This bitch is crazy. We had so much fun. If you listened to the first episode, we talked a little bit about interdimensional stuff, Air Force film. She is an Air Force veteran. She was a pilot. Cool shit. Dropped down on some fun missions. She'll talk about that on the first episode in case you missed it. But on the second episode, we talk a little bit about marijuana, how I used to escape my crazy ex-wife on the launch box trying to vape. She always caught me. Different things about careers, gender roles, like it's real life, right? Yeah. And then more random shit.
Total random shits.
Total random shit. But I don't think 2 episodes was enough for this beautiful woman. So she needs to come back. We'll get an episode 3 scheduled because she deserves probably way more time than what I was able to give her. But make sure to subscribe, give us 5 stars, and pass the episode along. And if you have any questions, holler at us. But if you don't, then have a wonderful rest of your day. Hey. Peace.
Shut up and sit down.
We're back. Thanks for doing the short intermission, everybody. What were we were talking about before? I forget. Doesn't matter because
That's irrelevant.
I know. Before we were talking, everybody who listens to my other shows know that we talk a little bit about drugs and like all kinds of shit. But earlier we were talking about how you had made some coconuts. Some cannabis coconut oil for your dog because your dog got cancer, which is cool.
Oh, my poor boy Marley. He got cancer, and so he had this giant tumor in his nose, and he was in so much pain, but like he still had this passion for life, you know? So I thought to give him a better quality of life, I took some, the chemistry that I knew, and I did the cooking that I know, and I made like just a kind of a raw coconut oil, not like a dab or anything like that, but just like an actual kind of cooking oil.
And you just melt that over his food and put like...
Well, at first we did, and then I started to just give him like spoonfuls of it. He loved it, and he would just be the happiest boy for 10 to 12 hours. So like that was the best medicine I could have ever given him.
That's
and
good.
So, I finally lost him when he was, like I saw that the spark in his eyes was fading. So then I knew it was time.
And you put him down.
Yeah.
That's one of the hardest. Whenever I look at my dog and I'm in a state of inebriation, I look at my dog and I say, I love you so much, and when I have to put you down, it'll be the saddest day of my life.
Right.
And I look at her and I grab her nose and I always tell her, I say, you do not know how much you are loved. I love you so much that I love you the most. And I don't want to lose you, but I know that one day you will die. That's literally what I tell her. So,
it's tough.
But while she's here, I'm going to love the shit out of her. I'm going to squeeze her. I'll snuggle her. And if she lets me, I'll snuggle her. But she's not a snuggler. She likes to make sure she's in a position to protect everybody in the house.
Oh.
So when I have my tenant in here, she doesn't sleep in my bed. She'll split the 2 rooms between the front and the back door.
Oh.
So she'll sleep towards the front door. In her bed, but she'll make sure that she splits the 2 entrances to make sure that both rooms are like protected evenly. It's really weird, but she's bred that way. 100 plus years of inbreeding are going to create a specific type of dog, right? So you can expect the behaviors for Doberman to be very protective, but also to be very loving and caring. So they're a family dog. They're a pack. Dog. Yeah.
So back to weed.
So back to weed.
I'm going to steer you back in this direction.
Thank you. So yeah,
the coconut oil is amazing. And over the course of the last 2 years, it's just gotten Like it's just magic in a jar.
Yeah.
It just gets better. Like, I don't know, something's happening to the THC and it's almost like it's getting stronger.
It's like resonating.
It is. You know, there's an energy to it. There's definitely like a feeling to it that takes me to a place I really enjoy.
I enjoy that. Do you do that before you hit the deprivation tank?
No, I've actually never been inebriated in a dep tank.
You should.
Maybe one of these days, you know, I'm going to go to like somewhere that's not Idaho and, you know, get some acid or some shrooms or something.
You don't have to go to Idaho. You don't have to go outside Idaho. You don't have to leave this house if you want. I can find you something. It's connections I have, girl. I've done 150 podcasts.
Well, we'll talk after.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, you know, I'd like to do that. Like, I love psychedelics. I love the dep tank. I love weed. You know, it just, like, it's funny because I feel like the first 20 years of my adulthood were like super serious.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm just in this second decade or second 2 decades
Mm-hmm.
of my life. And I feel like a totally different person. I'm getting back to my gypsy hippie like proclivities. So
yeah. Well, you seem so happy. Yeah. And every time I see you, it seems like you're always doing better. But maybe it's because you're out and about, and that's the reason why you're out and about, is because you do feel better.
Yeah.
You know, again, I only see you when we do the friends gatherings and whatnot. I need to, and I'm guilty of not holding many of those, mostly because I'm so busy, but also because, again, Anthony, he's the cornerstone of all of our friends. Like, when Anthony does something, people will all show up.
Yeah. If I invited everybody, nobody would show up. Everybody would be too busy. So.
I'd show up. But for me, I wouldn't even host anything because I don't know if anybody would show up. And knowing that everybody would, thinking that nobody would.
Right.
Yeah. Does that make sense?
Exactly.
Because I know everybody would come and hang out and support and like have a good time because it's like a place that everybody could hang out, get together. But I always have this thing in the back of my head that tells me that, well, you haven't hung out with them in a long time. Like, you're really not the best of friends with all these people. You know, only half of them might show up, or they might be interested in hanging out. But in reality, I know that everybody would, because everybody I surround myself, I believe, they love me. And by that, I mean, they enjoy my company. Like, you know, like a lot of people that I hang out with, they have an appreciation for just who I am, and and likewise, like everybody I associate myself with is typically somebody who makes me a better person in some way.
Right.
You know, they make me think differently, or they enlighten me, or they drop knowledge, and to me, that's an attraction. I'm attracted to people who are smarter than me, more successful than me. And by smarter, I mean somebody who has a firmer understanding in a topic where I can gain more knowledge. Because I would consider myself somewhat of a sapiosexual, and by that I mean I'm attracted. Sapiosexuals. Let me get this right. Sapiosexuals are sexually attracted to knowledge, to somebody who can just enlighten them, right? I'm not sexually attracted to it. It's not like I'm going to get a boner from a buddy of mine who's dropping knowledge on something like science. I'm not going to be like, oh, yeah, that's dope, dude. Yeah, science, bro. No, I'm not like that. But like I am very much attracted to, in a literal sense, to anything that is going to make me better. And for the most part, I don't know a lot of people who can make me physically better, because I know where I'm at physically, and for the most part, I don't surround myself with a lot of people.
Too.
Yeah. and modest. But like, you know, when it comes to understanding certain topics or being able to expand my mind, you know, those are the things that I'm like, oh my God, they turn me on in a way where it's like, holy shit. I'm just like, I'm flooded with all kinds of like feelings, like, holy shit, how did I not think about this? It's a good feeling, right?
Yes. Well, they say that you are a direct reflection of the 5 people you're closest to.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The 5 people you surround yourself with the most are going to develop you in so many ways. Your personality, your characteristics, your mannerisms, all kinds of things. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And that's flexible. I think it changes over time. You know, like my friend group definitely like is super ever changing. It is because like you, I'm super social and I'm very extroverted too. So I'm not quiet. I'm not a wallflower. I'm just like, hey, I'm Amanda. You know, I'm just like in people's face. And like, it's funny because people are just drawn to me. Like everybody tells me that I have this presence, and I don't exactly know what the hell that means, but everybody's like, oh, you have this presence. And I'm like,
you're tall. That is a presence. Most people are going to notice anybody who's tall.
Right.
Whether you're male, female, doesn't matter. When you're tall, you're automatically put into a position of almost authority, leadership. Like they
but when you're female,
it's
so different because everybody around me is 5'3".
That's true.
Right. And so I've grown up knowing that when I step into a room, everybody's going to stare at me.
Yeah.
And so, you know, even though sometimes inside I'm like, God, will you stop staring at me? Like I have to put on this face of like, yeah, bitches.
Yeah.
Hey, why aren't you looking at me?
Yeah. HBIC, ladies.
Right? Exactly. So
HBIC.
So I think that's what people are talking about when they say I have a presence, because no matter where I go, like people just walk up to me and we have conversations like we've known each other for years.
You're very confident, and confidence goes a long way. There's a difference between ego and confidence.
Right.
And some people will come at me like I have an ego, and I'm like, nah, dude, I'm sitting here in the corner being quiet by myself, like I'm just having a drink.
Yes.
Like if I had an ego, I'd be out there like making sure everybody knew who I was. But I'm confident knowing that it doesn't matter if anybody knows who I am. I know who I am. Does that make sense?
Right,
like,
exactly.
I've worked hard for where I'm at in life. I enjoy the things that I do. I don't think I'm special by any means, but I don't have any I don't have any problems with self-confidence whatsoever.
Clearly, you do not.
No, thank you. Well, when I go to like shows or concerts or something like that, it's not like I have to reach out and like let people know that I'm there. Like I'm at the fucking show. I'm enjoying my show. I'm enjoying myself. People are interested. They can be involved in my life. They can be a part of it. They're welcome to be a part of it. But at the end of the day, I don't overreach and make sure that people are a part of it. Does that make sense?
Right.
I don't try to make anything excessive. But I think that also stands out because, again, I'm not egotistical. I just know who I am, what I have to offer, the things that I've done, you know, and like, not that they're glamorous or anything, but I've worked hard. And I think that like most people don't do shit with their lives.
But what is the root of your confidence? Because I wish I had that kind of confidence. You say I'm confident, but the truth is like, I question everything about myself all the time.
But I wouldn't know that, right? And you don't let people know that. I question myself every day. Every fucking day. I question. After we get done with this episode, I'm going to go through it. I'm going to listen to it. I'm like, fuck, man. What did I say? What did I say wrong? And then I'm going to publish it, and everybody's going to hear the raw thing. But I question myself on a daily. And that's why I think I am so confident, is because I'm always looking for ways to make myself better, because I'm always questioning whether or not I could be better, you know? And I think that is confidence. At the end of the day, somebody who's confident there's somebody who knows that they can always improve themselves, and that there's nobody else who can tell them that they're not going to be as good as they can be.
That's interesting.
Because I've been told many times by people older than me, I've been told many times by people who are more important than me, you know, that I'm only going to amount to so much, or that I'm a disappointment or whatnot. And it's happened, believe you me, you know, and which is why I work so hard, and I've accomplished so many things in my life, is because I've consistently been told that I can't do it. It's like, all right, well, fuck you, you're cool because you were a coach like when I was in 8th grade, and then everybody else go fuck themselves, because I'm going to do what I want. This is America. We have the freedoms, we have the rights, we have the opportunities to make ourselves as good as we can.
Exactly.
Yeah. So nobody else in America or nobody else in the world has our opportunities. And so for me, growing up again in a military household, you know, like my parents instilled in me, like, hey, listen, the world's stacked against you, straight up. Go out and make something yourself. Go to school. Get smart. Fucking work hard. Become a contributing, you know, citizen of society. Like, make sure that you take care of yourself, family, God, you know, like whatever it is. Make sure that you take care of yourself and then others right afterwards. You are the most important person in this world, according to you.
See, this explains a lot. Just knowing you and your brother both, like, you guys have like a weird confidence about you that I love. Like, I love being around you guys because, like, you know, you make me feel good about myself just by proxy. And so,
thank you.
It's interesting, like how you're being raised, how your environment created that. Because mine was totally opposite. I grew up in a very abusive household. It was very toxic, you know, and maybe that's why, to me, Colorado is like, I'll never go back. So I had to learn to fend for myself at a young age, and like I had to learn to pretend like nothing was wrong at a very young age, and put on this like facade of like, you know, this armor. But it served me well in adult life as I've like unpacked all those issues and come to terms with it and like dealt with all the trauma and everything else. You know, so now like I'm able to turn that into a confidence, but it's a different kind of confidence. It's kind of like you'll never get one over on me.
Yeah.
You say what you will, think what you, I don't really care. Just, I am who I am, and like, it is what it is, and fuck you if you don't like me. And
for real though, fuck people that don't like you. Well, you're a beautiful human being. I think when I look at somebody, I look at them as an overall construct, and I'm like, how does this person treat other people?
Right.
How does this person interact with those people? Do they act like they're above them, or do they act like they're on their same level? For me, it doesn't matter if you have a wonderful job. It doesn't matter if you're homeless. What matters to me is you're a good person, because at the end of the day, most of the people that I know who are successful, they're there because of nepotism. They're there because they know somebody, not because they're somebody who's worked their ass off. And this is a problem that like the United States and society in general has with successful people, is they're like, oh, this person's making like 1.5 million to be a CEO. Okay, yes. Well, aside from the fact that they're running a 20 million, 100 million, 200 billion dollar company, you know, yes, they have a lot of stressors in their life. But at the end of the day, those people, A, took advantage of other people to get there, or B, they worked their ass off to get there, and they deserve it. And it's unfair, obviously, to somebody in that position to be distinguished one way or the other, but it happens.
Right.
And the same goes for people in general in real life. You know, most people have to work their asses off to get to where they're at, as far as, you know, the way that they interact with people. I had a guy on here on I do a testimonies with Tim, and I have a guy come in here with some interns, and this kid was he's somebody who was traumatized as a child, and he was considered Asperger's, severe Asperger's. And when he was like 14, he was declared not to have Asperger's. And they were like, no, you were misdiagnosed basically your whole life. And this kid had grown up being considered handicapped his entire life, taken care of, told you can't do anything because of this is who you are. He had no idea that he was fully capable of actually living a normal fucking life, because he'd never been told he'd lived a normal life. He'd never been told that he could live a normal life. He was told he was going to be taken care of. So what did he expect to be taken care of? But I don't know where I was going with that.
I don't either, totally, but it brings up an interesting topic, because I have a friend, you know, like, I don't know, I find myself gravitating towards people who are significantly younger than me. I mean, and not romantically. Like, I like dirty old men for some reason. I said that in jest, but
I have a story. One of the most beautiful women I knew was into old men. And, oh my God, we could talk stories about that chick.
You know, like, I'm just saying that because that's what my friend says. She's like, God, you know, why don't you date younger guys? I'm like, no, like, I like guys who are like 5 or 10 years older than me. You know, there's
Makes sense.
I don't know. There's just something sexy about salt and pepper hair to me.
My ex-wife left me for 20 years older.
Wow.
She was 26, so it does not surprise me.
So I have this friend who's 22. We share the same birthday, and he never got told that he was smart. And like he always kind of assumed that he was stupid. And I'm gonna guess that this guy like has probably like a 165 IQ. And like if he realized his potential, like he would be challenging Stephen Hawking's theories, and he would be challenging Einstein because he's that brilliant.
Yeah.
But he never knew he was that brilliant because nobody ever told him that.
Suppressed.
Right? So he just skated through school, and like it's just interesting because I'm like, God, you're freaking smart. He's like, no. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, I bet your IQ is 160. I would put money on it. Like if I would go highest odds on that if you went to Mensa and took an IQ test. And so it's interesting how like you become like what you're told you are or what you aren't told you are too. So like we're all a victim of our environment, so to speak.
We're all a product of our environment. And
yeah, that's true. I said a victim. It is a product because a victim implies that you're helpless in changing any of that. So,
yeah, I did not pick up on that, so thank you. But it's true though, and again, we only know what we know, right? And if we're told we are who we are our entire lives, we believe it. One of my best friends, and sadly, this kid wrote me off a couple of years ago. One of my best friends for 20 plus years, and going on 25 years, quarter of a fucking decade. And I allowed him to write me off. He didn't make me better in any way. And I was at a breaking point in my life where this is somebody who blamed me for his own insecurities, his own unaccomplishments, and I don't deal with that.
Yeah,
like if
there's
you don't
no
take
room
advantage
for that.
No, if you don't take advantage of the fact that I'm somebody who can make you better, and you don't ask me questions, and you and instead you take advantage of me for the betterment of your own life, I'm smart enough to say, sorry, I can't do that. But this is somebody who was in that position to, essentially I wrote this guy off because he didn't make me a better person in life, and he only dragged me down. And as much as I love him and his family, his kids, I as selfish as it sounds, I'm about me.
Well, you have
my
to
self-development.
It's taken me forever, and it's just, I don't know if I spent my whole life being afraid of like losing people in my life, but it wasn't until recently. Like I should come in and do a whole nother podcast about like the last 3 years of my life.
We should.
It's tumultuous, right? But it's led me to where I am now. It feels like a complete rebirth. Like I feel like I'm 22, not 42, which is really weird, but I feel like I'm starting my life over. But one of the things I've arrived at, and it's taken me forever, is not to spend time with people who don't give me joy. That's like as simple as I can say it is. If you don't give me pleasure in my life, then I don't have time for that. Like the hours, the days are ticking by. We only have some 5,000 potential weeks of our life. And, for every week I spend around somebody who makes me feel bad about myself or drags me down or has completely negative. Like, I just don't want that.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
Yeah.
For me, it's, can you make me better?
Yeah.
Can I make you better?
Exactly.
There's a two-way street here. I don't have enough time. I have people hit me up all the time who are like, hey, I want a podcast. Can I come in and podcast in your studio? I'm sitting there thinking, no, because I have 5 shows that I just produced this week. I don't have time to have somebody come in and take advantage of me. I spent years, I spent a year and a half like researching, making sure that my shit sounds good, looks good. All of my everything is hand drawn, everything's hand done. So if you look at my logos, my Beavis and Butthead Pro Edge logo, all hand drawn. Like I do 100%. I've never outsourced anything. So when somebody hits me up and they say, hey, can I come over and like, can you teach me how to do your can you teach me how to edit and blah blah blah? Okay, yes, I'd love to, but if you were to open that statement, hey, I have $20 an hour for your time, or hey, I respect your time, I know you've done this for a long time and you have a studio that you put thousands of fucking dollars into, I'd love it if you could just give me a little bit of your time to show me something.
Right?
That's what I would say. Because at first, when somebody asks me if they can just come over and take advantage of me, I tell them, sorry, I spent a lot of fucking time. Go ahead and Google. And I tell this to people. It's not even like once or twice. I've had like 5 people who contact me who want free podcasting in the studio.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. And I'm like, I would love to produce your show, but there's a few things off the top of my head I'm sitting there thinking. And I always tell them, like, I'd love to help you out and produce your show, or I'd love to tell you what I've done, but unfortunately, I don't have the time. But Google's a great resource. If you have any detailed questions, feel free to reach out. I'll get back to you when I can.
Right.
But the people who have hit me up and been like, hey, like, I'd love it if, like, can I pay you $100 for this amount of time to take care of, these topics, go over this information. Those people are booked right away. Why? Not because they give money. I don't have a problem with money. I'm fucking set. I've worked my ass off to be in a position to where I can have this studio, to where I can have people like you come into my life, to where I can spend extra time outside of my professional life to edit it, produce it, get it out there. Most people don't understand that. They don't realize that. They think, oh, this guy just fucking, he has a studio and this is all he does. Most people think this is what I do for a living.
Right.
Like sometimes when I go downtown, people are like, oh, you're the podcast guy. No, I'm a guy who just likes to talk with other people. I have a studio and I do that stuff. Yes, but at the end of the day, I'm a professional. I do analytics. I'm a consultant. But like a lot of times I do get people who just straight up ask me if they can have my time. No, you can't have my fucking time. Do you think I could hit up Macy's and say, hey, can I have a fucking jacket? Can I get a sport coat from you guys?
Right?
I really like your sport coat. Can I get your sport coat? No. You're not going to get a fucking sport coat. They'll be like, hey, here's a 10% off coupon.
Exactly.
You're still going to spend $180 on that fucking jacket.
It's funny because people don't value that. People don't value skill. They don't value art. I run into that with, filmmaking, especially here, because it's like, oh, hey, I'd love it if you shot my movie. Like if I believe in it, I will do it, because there's never a budget. But there are certain people, there's certain projects, there's certain everything that just feel like they're taking advantage of me. Like, and even in LA, like it's, people are more interested in my camera than the DP behind it, and I'd just rather if they were just honest and just rented the equipment.
Exactly.
Totally. And so I won't do those projects. I'm like, you'll find somebody else. I promise. There's a trust fund DP out there who'll do the job for you.
Well, and I even posted online. I got sick of it to the point where I posted on like my Channel 99 studio page. I was like, hey, I'm at a point where I'm not doing free marketing. I'm not giving shout outs to anybody anymore. Like, people don't share my stuff. And I'm at a point where people literally offer to pay me for studio time, and I'm not desperate for cash. So I put that out there. Negative backlash. Nobody wanted to hang out. Nobody wanted to be on my show again.
No.
Like people who were contacting me to be on my show, they all quit talking to me after that. And I was like, good. I just got rid of a bunch of leeches who were trying to get free marketing, free promotion. Because at the end of the day, this isn't about me. This is about my community. This is about the people who are passionate about what they do. And I provide the only platform for people. There's no other place outside of this that you can book. There's one other spot. I'm not going to even mention it because people wouldn't even think to look there. But most people pay $40 an hour to go in and record like music, anything they want in a studio room just like this.
Right.
And people know that, and they try to take advantage of it for free. And, as much as I love my community, if I want you on here for free, I'll just tell you to come on my show for free. And what's sad is I'll ask people and I'll go out of my way and say, hey, I will book time for you, but this is my availability. These are my dates. Please let me know. And they think they're cooler than me or better than me, and they won't ever message me back. Or when they do, it's like 3 months down the road when they actually listen to a podcast because it was shared on a friend's list. Does that make sense?
Fucking
and then they
losers.
hit me up. Yeah, and then they hit me up, and then I'm like, hey, sorry, I'm like literally booked out for like a month. Like, you should have hit me up when I told you to come over, but you can't now because I'm busy, and then I never get them on.
So let me flatter your ego here, Tim. So you know, I told you earlier I work in a factory all night, right? So I got off work at 6 a.m. today, and here I am at 1 p.m. in Tim's studio. So.
And you look fucking amazing.
If you can't make time for Tim, then.
No, it's
fuck
true.
You.
Yeah. Well, and it's not even that. It's just like people who think that they're better. And then I'm not starved for content. There's no. I'm
but if
not
it's
starved.
important, like it was important for me to come here because you've asked me a couple times, and you know I have all this anxiety. Like, oh my god. Like,
yeah, that's what you said.
I don't know if I want to do this and have this out there on the interwebs. You know, so.
Well, you've killed this episode. We've gone over an hour and a half. You have been better than the majority of people that I get on here who I've begged to come on here. Because if I have to beg people, they feel like it's a chore. They're like, oh, I'm just going to show up and talk about stuff.
So I have no desire to do this, but, you know, I'm going to plug your show right now. Like, if you enjoyed this and you want me to come back, like, I want, like...
Well, you're coming back.
I want internet fame is what I want. So I want this to be the Tim and Amanda hour or hour and a half. And I want this to be like the most viewed one that you have.
Yeah, and it probably will. All you got to do is share it. You'd be surprised.
I'll share it.
This has been an awesome show, though. I've had a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's taken some turns. It's gotten a little weird at times, but it's all good.
Well, it's badass, right? Because you are so interesting. You are literally all over the place. You're military, film, tech. You build CPUs and shit in the middle of the night, which is crazy. I didn't even know that until today.
Circuit boards that go in SpaceX vehicles, actually. That's what we're working on
SpaceX
right
vehicles?
now. Yeah.
Oh, damn. And those are the reusable rockets
that
they're using.
Yeah. So we prototype circuit boards and stuff like that for, you know, the companies. Like, we don't build stuff here. It's too
prototype.
It's too expensive to build stuff in America, but we're really good at prototyping and working bugs out. So that's what we do.
And then, so as soon as you guys figure out what the problems are, you forward that information to the actual manufacturer in China?
Well, yeah. Like, we have factories in China, and we have a factory in Mexico. You know,
is this Micron?
No, it's a company called Plexus.
Wow.
Yeah,
I think that's in Boise.
It's actually Nampa. It's 2 miles from my apartment in Nampa.
Is this the headquarters or the satellite campus?
It's just a satellite campus.
But it's cheap enough to work on, and by cheap I mean like it's cost efficient enough for the company to put an outpost essentially in Nampa for testing and facilities. Yeah. Wow.
Actually,
good for Nampa.
Yeah. So it's been there for a long time, actually. And I had no idea that this industry even existed. I just needed money. And so it was right down the road. And I started applying for jobs there, and they hired me. So, and I've worked my way up. I've been promoted twice already, which is like in a year, like they see talent and they value it. And so I fully expected this job to be 3 months of whatever, and now it's like turned into more than a year, and I've just never had a boring day, which is
and you
pretty
like
incredible.
it.
I do.
You seem like you liked it.
I
Most
really
people
do.
Are like, I don't want to talk about my job. I fucking love my job, and when people talk to me about my job, like I get super excited and tell them, "Oh, this is what I do," and like if you were to go here and here and here, and you looked at this, this, and this, this is because of me, right? And I get super excited. But a lot of people look at that and they're like, "Oh, he's all about himself and super ego." And I'm like, no, this is what I do. This is why I like it. This is why I'm good at it. This is because I fucking enjoy what I do. This is why I do what I do, because I love it. Like, otherwise I wouldn't be talking about it.
Exactly.
I wouldn't be ashamed of what I do. Sometimes I ask people about their jobs and they act like it's, I don't want to talk about my job. Okay, well then obviously you're not doing what you fucking enjoy. You're not doing what you love to do, or you're not doing something that's going to make you better in any way. So find a fucking job that you'd like to talk about, because when people ask me about my job, I can't wait. I'm like, oh my god, dude, you have no idea.
Right?
I just replaced a Snickers bar for a fucking Reese's at a store in like Michigan. How about that? Let me tell you about my job. I geek out on it. As stupid as it sounds,
but it's awesome because, like, I'll blow your mind here. Like, if you don't like your job, it's a choice.
Yes.
Going into work every day is a choice.
Yep.
And if you don't like it, you're obligated not to make that choice. You're obligated to go do something else.
Do something you love.
Yep.
I fucking hate it when people tell me that they hate their jobs. Get the fuck out of your job.
Yep.
Go do something. Well, I can't go back to school. Why not? This is America. You can get a loan. You're fucking 23 plus years old. They'll pay for you pretty much to go to college. Don't give me any bullshit. When people give me bullshit, oh, too much work. Don't give me any bullshit. I worked 7 fucking years to go through my master's school, undergrad. I did what I wanted to do. I learned the things that I wanted to do. And I was the person who was most discriminated against. I couldn't get any fucking financial backing. I'm a Caucasian male.
Right.
Like, let's be real. There's not shit. I grew up in a family that was so poor, we literally went to the dump to get our fucking furniture. But then people want to tell me, oh, you're fucking white, you're male, you're privileged. No, that's not the case.
Yeah.
The reason why I am who I am and the things I've accomplished is because everything's been stacked against me because I was told that I was somebody who I should be. So I became that person because I was told consistently that I had to be that person.
Right.
Lots of debt in the process. But you navigate the waters and you take advantage of anything you can to make you better. Don't take advantage of people. Take advantage of situations. So
I think people are afraid. I think that people get stuck in this, oh, well, I went to school for whatever, and that's all I can do. So, I went to school for biochemistry. And so I've worked 0 days in that industry. I've done 0 lab time. Like, I fucking hate it. I don't want anything to do with it, but it's a science background and it serves me well. And I've done all kinds of things because, like, I can do math. And so I've changed careers like 5 times already. And as I lose interest in stuff, I just move on to something else. And I pull on the experiences I've had before. And then if I want to invent new experiences, I just say I was consulting for a year. Yeah. Because I'll try anything. Yeah. And if I can get some dumbass to hire me at a new job that I have 0 experience in,
that's their problem.
It's their problem, but it gives me the experience that I can, usually be successul. Fake it till you make it,
Exactly. And I'm not trying to harp on the whole privilege thing. Like, I'm not saying that's not real. It's possibly very real. In my life, it hasn't happened, and it hasn't produced any great results. There's women who get... who get positions above me, who apply, who are contacted for those jobs before me. Doesn't matter. It doesn't. I don't care. I don't fucking care. Those women, as long as those people, doesn't matter if they're male, female, black, white, whatever. I don't fucking care. As long as that person is able to do the job better than me, fucking give it to them.
Right.
Because that is business. Business isn't fucking charity. So if I'm not good enough, doesn't matter the color, my background, whatever it is, my current work, as long as the person that you hire is better for the job, doesn't fucking matter.
Yep.
For me, what matters is making sure that the business at the end of the day, it's in the black and it's not in the red. And that's what matters. We don't sacrifice anything for anybody, regardless of social status. Fucking some inept caste system that is completely bogus in the United States. We don't do caste. Let's go back to China. Let's go back to India. Let's have some fucking issues if you want to talk caste system. But, but when it comes to the United States of America, there's a system that has been put in place that allows every one of us the same responsibilities and the same rights as everybody else. And the reason I say that is because when I go through an application, I have to tell them if I'm Caucasian, Native American, Black, Hispanic. By the way, Hispanic is not a race. It is actually they don't actually put it into a race system. They put it into a why can't I think of this word right now?
I don't know, but you need to look up and think of like ethnicity. Caucasian, because like
Caucasian should be an ethnicity, but they actually consider it a race.
Right, and it is an ethnicity.
It is
and
an ethnicity.
It's a very, very small part of the world. So
it is.
I don't know.
It's very small.
Don't get me started on like social justice warriors, because I feel the same way. I feel like, I don't know, like here's gonna come the shade and the hate, but I think that there really is no privilege, and I think that
there's no privilege.
If you're harping on privilege, it's because you're too lazy or too inept or too distracted or too brainwashed or too something to step out of your bubble and and into the world. Like in my world, you know, it's like women always talk about the meritocracy. Men get promoted because it's the meritocracy and they're judged on their merits. I'm like, you're judged on your merits too. The problem is you're a lazy bitch.
Yeah, just get your shit done.
Exactly. Like,
believe me, a woman would be hired over a man all the time as long as they had their shit together.
Right?
Because at the end of the day, if I were to hire somebody, it doesn't matter if it's a guy or a girl because that person is going to be on my fucking record.
Right?
And if they don't get the shit done, I get fired.
Yeah.
Not them. They get fired automatically, but I get fired too.
Yeah.
So that's real world. That's corporate. That's
it
what
is.
drives
It's
me
just
crazy.
the real world. And so, like, the women who are the most successful are the ones who can step in and swing with the guys. You know, like, I have a lot of advantage. I'm not going to lie. Like, being 5'11" puts me at eye level with men. So it puts me in a power position, which is awesome.
Very intimidating.
It is.
Yeah.
And so I do wear
Especially
heels.
if you have especially if you have like the credentials to back your shit
Right.
up. Yeah.
So I feel fortunate in that aspect that I can get in and just step into the ring with the guys and swing with them because I am able to advance because of that. I'm able to grow, you know, within the corporate environment or even within cinematography or my own craft, like because I can swing with the guys. And I do believe in this meritocracy is true. Like, and I have no problem saying, okay, show me your shit because I'm better than you.
Yeah.
And that's how guys play in the workforce, and that's not how girls play.
No.
Girls play like, you know, everything has to be fair and equal footing, and it just doesn't work that way.
It doesn't.
Yeah.
That's not real. That's not corporate life.
It's not. And
It's
I wish
not.
women would learn that. I wish women would just embrace the fact that, like, we have to be stronger. We have to get into the workplace and play it by the workplace rules.
There's a lot of misinformation out there, especially with the whole equal pay. And the only reason why is because when you take into consideration the numbers, the majority of women, they kind of stall at a point in their career to where a lot of times they'll go and they'll take a year off, 2 years off.
Yeah.
They'll have their kids. They'll do their thing. And what a lot of people don't take into consideration is it's not that men get paid more than women. It's that a lot of times the men typically will work the corporate jobs when the women will go to a certain point in their career
Right.
and they're like, fuck, I need to have a kid. And they
Yeah.
have a kid. And a lot of times those women are also married to men who are very successful anyways. Because let's be real, successful women are not attracted to fucking retard men, right? Let's be real. They're
don't
not.
know.
Maybe they are. Maybe they are. Maybe it's some type of confidence issue. But for the most part, I think a lot of very successful, very influential women are going to be attracted to men who also exhibit those same types of
Yes.
behaviors, same types of characteristics, again, mannerisms, all kinds of things. You know, somebody who takes care of themselves enough to proceed in their career and make
Right.
something of themselves. So, but for the most part, like if I know for a fact that the women that I got hired on with at the same time in my career, the majority of them have progressed and they've actually exceeded me in their careers, only because I haven't taken the initiative to proceed in my own career because I also run multiple businesses outside of my 40-hour-a-week job.
Right.
These women dedicate their entire lives outside of their children and their family to my job or
Yeah.
to their job.
Women kind of have to, though, because like I think it's harder in the corporate environment for women to be noticed for their accomplishments. You
Maybe.
know,
I
and
don't see that. And the only reason I don't see that is because the majority of managers at my office, which is one of the top leading analytical offices in the entire United States in our industry, the majority of them are all women.
Right.
So, but that's pretty much.
See, it's funny
what I
because
know.
like I would never thrive in that environment. I always find myself going towards these male-dominated environments. You know, aviation, the film industry, building
Yeah.
circuit boards in the middle of the night. Like these are places where men work, and so, you know, in my world, it's like if I step behind a camera, there's always somebody like, "Oh, honey, let me show you how to use that." No, fuck off. Just step back. Like, I know more. I've forgotten more about this camera than you'll ever know.
Bitch.
And so, right.
Back up.
And so, like, there's that factor in there that, like, I have to work a lot harder for people to go, "Oh, that bitch is fucking awesome." Whereas, like, you know, I think some men step on set and, like, they're like, "Oh, you know, he's so great," and he's just kind of lazy and doesn't actually do anything. And it's sometimes it's frustrating, but I don't let it become a victim. I'm like, "Oh, I have to work harder." No, I want to work harder.
I think a lot of times, especially when a male comes in and says, "Hey, do you want me to help you out?" I think for the most part, it's more or less. How do I describe that? I think men want your attention as a female because you are in a position for them to be able to influence. Right. Does that make sense? So it's not necessarily that they think they're better than you. I think what it is it's like, "Hey girl, what's up? Let me show you what I can do with this. And if you have questions, hit me up later." You know what I'm saying? I think that honestly, I think that's the way it is. And I think that also propagates that type of culture where men obviously see women as not necessarily inferior, but probably somebody or someone who could use, I guess, like assistance or mentorship or leadership.
And that's hardwired in our DNA. It is. And it's been reinforced by culture for generations. So it's no wonder that, like, a man wants to step into a situation and take control of it.
Not necessarily take control, but lead in a way where they have some type, and I'm sorry, I totally interjected, but I don't think men necessarily want to be completely in control per se. I think the way that they get that control is they're able to provide assistance in ways that maybe it allows a direct, well, I guess, yes, a direct control, but like an indirect control. I'm sorry. They're able to provide some assistance where it's like a needed thing where they believe it's a confidence thing. Okay.
Right. And then you have bitches like me who are like, "Step off. Like, I got this."
Yes. But the majority of women are going to look at the man because of our social construct, right? The majority of women are going to look at that man and say, "This guy knows what he's saying." And indirectly, this male who may not even be competent to the extent that he claims to be in that area, the girl or the woman, I should say, who is in that position will look to him as an authoritative figure, and she will automatically follow him for the most part, because that's the way we're told.
Because
that's what we're told, right? There, very few women like you, and it's slowly getting better and better, where women are like, "No, hold on. This guy says it can be done this way, but I'm sure that it could be done a different way." But a lot of times, like, women are just going to be like, "All right, well, this guy's an authoritative figure," because for the most part, men are going to be authoritative figures, especially further in your career, because, again, most women will drop off, have families, they have kids, like, they're content, they're educated, they have a great career, and now they're having a family. That's another career in and of itself, right? So it's a completely different direction. But for a lot of the women who don't have kids, they are career women who don't want to have kids. They're not dating, or they're not married, and they might be dating, right? Like the women who are very confident, because, again, like, our social construct is to kind of be like, men are authoritative, right?
Right.
But, like, that's how I feel, I guess, is that, like, it's not necessarily that women aren't capable, because they're not. Everything is set up for anybody to take care of it, because if somebody were to write a code, this gets, for the most part, if somebody creates a project, they have to create something that everybody else can be into.
Right.
Otherwise, it's like, why are you doing it? I guess what I'm getting at is a lot of women, I think, to this point in time, they're automatically going to look to an authoritative figure who, for the most part, will be male, who will try to control a situation, and the women allow that to happen. But it's because what other direction do they have?
But not when a woman does that, because the one time I worked in an all-female environment, actually it wasn't all-female, it was like mostly female, like it was horrible. It was train wreck for me, because I stepped in, I'm like, I'm king bitch around here. And they all ganged up on me.
And they're super drama.
And it was super drama. And like they were filing like HR reports behind my back saying I was sexually harassing like somebody who like I never even talked to. And
I remember I saw you post something online about this.
Yes. And it was like, I was like, oh my God. So this is my one like time in this environment with, you know, all of the middle managers at my level were all women. And it was horrible. And that's when I went back. Why do you think
that is? Because you're just fucking dominant. Like, let's be real. You're tall. You're very confident.
Yeah.
You're knowledgeable. Like, there's a lot of things about you that would intimidate anybody.
Well, yeah. And I think that people judge me, and I think that people have all these, like, I don't know, prejudices and whatever. Like, and so I step into an environment like that, and I'm like, I'm in charge. No matter what. And I do that everywhere. I always do that.
You should.
And so, like in that environment, those women just couldn't deal with it. They just ganged up on me. It was horrible.
Well, fuck those bitches.
Well, fuck those bitches.
Fuck those bitches.
I'm back in like male world now, so it's awesome.
You're just fucking cool. Straight up. Your real life, everything about you is just...
No.
You're totally cool. And you've got a background that definitely exceeds any female that I know. You have a grasp in so many different areas, from creativity when it comes to film. You're a fucking pilot. You work in tech. You know, it's not often that you find... you know, somebody who is as calibrated in their life, who has recognized who they are, what they want to be, where they want to go, where they're from. You know, for the most part, I know a lot of women who are trying to figure out where the fuck they came from, let alone who they are now and where they want to go. You know, and these are like women in their late 20s, early 30s, people who have been taken care of, people who don't have any concept of reality outside of being taken care of,
right?
You know, and I think someone like you is an amazing influence, regardless of where you come from, your background, anything like that. That's one reason I wanted you on my show, because you're just an amazing person. You're super fucking cool. You're easy to get along with, no matter how much anxiety, nervousness you had coming on the show. My complete goal is to make sure that somebody feels comfortable in my house, that I'm able to make them feel settled, to be able to express themselves, and if not first time around, always have, you know, multiple sessions. It's almost like a counseling session in this place, and it's a fucking time warp.
It is a time warp. I cannot
We've been on for 2 hours.
That's insane.
This is our second hour.
Wow.
Right? So we hit our second. I might even just do 2 shows out of this. So we might record two. Might just record 2 intros, just because.
Right.
We've covered completely different topics.
Oh, we have. Like, I think that it's probably like 5 mini shows, actually.
This is amazing.
I've enjoyed actually just talking about the random crap that we have, and just the threads we've gone down, and the rabbit holes we've chased. So
we didn't even talk about the launch box. Let's talk about that real quick. Let me tell you about my launch box story. Everybody listening in, we smoke weed. I smoke weed, and guess what? If my employer finds out that I smoke weed, I'll still pass a drug test and prove that I don't smoke weed. Because guess what? You guys let me pass like 2 different drug tests after I failed, just to keep my job. So I'll call y'all out on this shit.
You know what's funny about the tech industry is, like, they know everybody smokes weed, but they're afraid to drug test because they would have to fire the entire plant.
This is, dude, right? They would.
Exactly.
How else are you going to mellow out?
Exactly.
Smoke weed. You don't want an alcoholic. You want a stoner.
That's right.
funny story. I never failed the drug test. Years and years and years. Played football, 5 years, college, never failed a drug test. Worked many jobs, been tested within 36 hours smoking weed, and I smoke weed every day. Every day. No shame, because it's either that or my employer will have me doped up on narcotics because I have a pain specialist doctor and I don't do pain specialty. I don't do opiates. I don't do any of that stuff. I've had family members take their own lives, but 2 of my best friends have lost their lives because of stuff like that. I don't do that.
Right, but somehow a plant is a drug, but that's not right. Exactly.
Yeah. So, I don't even know where I totally got that. I don't know.
You love weed. I love weed.
I love weed.
I didn't start smoking until my mid-30s. I was super goody two-shoes up until Colorado legalized it.
Yeah.
And then my friend in Colorado, who's been a lifelong stoner, was the first one to get me high. I promised him that, so.
Well, and I'm interconnected. Yeah, that's good.
Right.
And I'm interconnected into companies. I am part of different companies that are invested in, like, marijuana companies. I've got business plans. I've got investors, all kinds of stuff. I'm not worried about my job. And the reason why I'm not worried about my job is because, A, my employer is amazing. I've never worked for a place that I could love so much. And the reason why is because my direct reports, which is my manager, who is the VP of operations for our entire division. And it's a global company of 60,000 people. So this is somebody who's like, hey, I know what your life is. And I know he knows what my life is because I get on like LinkedIn and I see he like looks at my LinkedIn, which has all my information. So he knows that I'm completely absorbed in multiple things. He knows that at the end of the day, his client is fucking stoked because I do way more outside of the bounds that our contractual agreement actually allows. I do more than that. So I'm not in it. I'm in a position to where like I literally have failed a drug test and my fucking company was like, just go ahead and take another one and we'll pay for it when you pass. And they did. Yeah, they did. And I know other people who failed 3, 4, 5 times, and my company, my parent company was like, hey, just make sure you pass. As soon as you pass, we'll pay for it. But you got to pay for everything until you pass, and then we'll fucking refi you or repay you.
I don't even know why this is a thing. Like,
it's not. It's
it fucking stupid. It is stupid. It's a waste of time.
It's a waste of time. It's a waste of money.
Right.
It's a waste of everything. Like, hey,
yeah.
It's one thing if I'm methed out, and I'm if I'm methed out, I'm probably doing 5 times as much as I should. So let's negate that. It's one thing if I fucking if I'm opioid out, if I'm heroin out, if you've got me on fucking painkillers all the time.
Right.
Because that is it was declared a national emergency by Donald Trump. It should have been a fucking national emergency for the last 10 years. Because again, I've had multiple people around me lose their lives because of this.
Yeah, it's horrible.
It's absolutely terrible. It's so sad.
But there are certain professions, right? Like that should be subject to drug testing. Like,
there are.
An airline pilot.
Yes.
Yes. A surgeon, probably. There's stuff like that where I want the person being sober, but sober when they're accomplishing it. I think that an airline pilot should be able to go home and
But can you fly a plane and smoke weed? Yes.
Yes, but you need to be sober. You need to be in a clear state of mind, right?
Don't drink. Don't be on opiates.
Yeah.
Don't be on something that's going to be a downer. That's going to digress your ability to make a decision.
So it's that I agree with, but why do I have to pass a drug test? Why
can't I smoke weed? Yeah. Why can't I smoke weed to look at a 30% increase versus
right?
Like a fucking negative 10%, right?
Exactly.
No, that's common fucking sense. Yeah. When you're stoned, it doesn't impair your ability to make that type of decision.
Exactly.
Even when you're drunk, it doesn't. But at the end of the day,
Yeah, but
the
you can get
overall
drunk.
scope-
Here, get drunk. No problem. Nobody cares how much
No.
vodka you drink, but
No.
they care like how much weed you smoke, which is stupid.
Which is fucking retarded.
Okay, back to the launch box. See, you keep going.
Oh
off
my
on this,
god,
like,
you're
yeah,
too much fun,
right?
and I can't stop. Oh my god, Amanda, you're too fucking awesome. I fucking love you. This is one of my favorite shows. Okay, Launchbox. I bought my Launchbox because I was like, hey, my ex-wife. So I was married at the time.
Okay.
Shout out to my ex-wife.
Hi.
So I've got like my ex-wife, and she was super anti-weed. It's insane. So I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna have to buy something so she doesn't know I smoke weed, because at the time I'd had 1, 2, 3, 4 knee surgeries.
Okay.
I played football through college. I had what they called the dead knee. I had a torn ACL, PCL, LCL, meniscus, medial meniscus. You don't even want to talk. We don't even want to get into my fucking my problems, right? So my knee is basically worth like basically a quarter of my home, and my house is worth a lot of fucking money. I'm in a good spot, right? Boise, Idaho, #1 fastest growing city in America. You know. So I get caught multiple times smoking weed. My ex-wife is like freaking out, so I buy this Launchbox. And long story short, this was probably the savior of my marriage for the majority of those, like, I'd say the remaining amount of time before we actually filed for paperwork. And I smoke weed, like,
right.
And not necessarily because because I want to. It's because it's literally marijuana and CBD, or I'm on opiates. And again, I've had 2 friends die with their fucking belts wrapped around their arms, and their moms have found them.
Yeah.
Their roommates have found them, like, dead.
Yeah, that's
You
terrible.
know, you have no idea, the listeners, and I'm sure like some of the listeners might, but you have no idea what it's like to get a phone call about a friend who was found by his mom.
Yeah. And that's so
dead,
tragic.
like one of your best friends.
Yeah. And
cousins.
You never lose a friend to the marijuanas.
I've never I've never had a friend pulled over for being stoned.
Right.
Never had a friend ticketed for being high. I had a friend ticketed for having marijuana on him. That was fucking bullshit. Fuck BPD. The only reason I say that is because y'all fucked up on that situation. My friend got pulled over in his front yard. He parked in his front yard. Literally parked in his front yard. He gets out. He walks up, and the BPD rolls around the corner, flips their lights on. They come out and they pull guns. They like literally draw guns on everybody.
Oh my god!
For marijuana. And guess what they found? They found a stem. That's all they found is a fucking stem. And then they ticketed my friend. He had to go to court. To BPD, go fuck yourself. And the only reason I say that is because I've had other people in here from Boise Police Department, outside of the one person who is on the Boise Police Department. She's not a part of this, but for the most part, everybody on the opposite side of BPD, I believe their story a lot more than BPD. And the only reason why is because I grew up in a family where I had an uncle who was undercover. I had another uncle who was also undercover, and the only difference between a fucking cop and a criminal is a badge.
Oh yeah, it's
That's
the biggest street gang in America.
Oh.
Yeah,
Easily.
the scariest one too.
Easily.
You know, I lived in the most lethal city in the United States, according to the Justice Department. The Albuquerque police have killed more people than any other police department in the country.
Who do they kill?
Oh, they kill everybody. Like, when I lived there, like, some guy, they were serving a warrant on the wrong house, And they surrounded this house, right? And they were about to knock the door down. And dude opens the door. He has a spatula in his hand because he was cooking dinner to see what the hell's going on out there. And they just opened fire on him. And then you had the famous case of the guy in the foothills, the homeless guy who was camping. And they shot him in the back. And so, like, I think at one point in time they had a shooting every week. And, like, the Justice Department came in twice and, like, they finally said, look, you're going to lose your accreditation as a law enforcement agency if you don't clean this crap up. Because they had a lot of body cam failures in these shooting cases, right? A lot of dash cam failures, a lot of, like, evidence lost. Like, somehow all the evidence is lost in this. So, you know, I don't know. I'm very opinionated when it comes to the cops. I think that we live in a broken system. I think that we could have another 2-hour podcast talking about how broken the system is.
The system's so broken.
It is broken.
Broken.
And this is a tool in it. You know, marijuana. No.
Not even sure what you're talking about.
Right. Yes, whatever that is. Yeah, you know, the marijuana is a tool in it. You know, it's easy to lock people in a cage for a plant, and it's like...
Well, Mexico just legalized recreational marijuana all across the board.
Right.
So that's going to change things up exponentially. Yeah. The Mexican president was the first Mexican president in the last 25 years to get an approval rating after the first 3 months of his, I think it was 3 months. I could be wrong, but ever since he's been in office, he has seen the highest increase in presidential approval since 1995.
Oh my
Problem
God.
with that is the guy in 1995 dropped off dramatically right off that. People won't talk about that. So if people will be like, oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, he was like the greatest president since 1995. Okay, well, look at the president in 1995. He increased right there, and then all of a sudden, boom, dropped off, done, son. Like one of the worst presidents. People don't recognize that. Again, do your fucking research before you form an opinion. Have a credible opinion versus an uncredible opinion. Educated opinion versus uneducated opinion.
Right.
I call people out all the fucking time because I'm not going to speak to something unless it's something that I absolutely know enough about to, like, debate.
Right.
I don't argue, I debate.
I'm that person on Facebook who's like,
I debate.
Attach a study to this article you just posted because they didn't attach a study.
Yes, and it's peer-reviewed, and it's,
right.
Yes, it's something that's important.
Yeah, let's try, I don't know, what's it called? Oh, yeah, science.
Yes, yeah. But when you come down, when you break it down to data, and you break it down to analytics, and I tell this to a lot of fucking people, you could be the number one unit sales, or you could be the number one dollar sales, you know, and it doesn't matter. You can pitch yourself one way or the other, and people are going to say you're the number one, right? You could sell a unit for $1 a piece. You could sell a unit for $1.50 a piece. Well, in dollar units, let's say you sell 1,000 units. Okay, well, you sell 1,000 units for $1,000 fucking dollars. You sell that your competitor sells 750 units, and then they actually sell $1,250. So yes, you're number one in units, but you're number two in dollar sales. So how do you want to position yourself? Do you want to be somebody who brings foot traffic in? Do you want to be somebody who brings in more people to buy your shit and they're going to buy more products? Or do you want to be somebody who's just going to come in and buy that one product and put more money through your shelf? And then you have to break it down to what else does somebody who buys the dollar per unit, what else do they fucking put in their basket? Are they buying fucking Tylenol? Are they buying conditioner on top of that? Are they buying fucking soap?
Where are you going with this, Tim?
What I'm saying is when it comes down to data, like, you only know what you know, and they'll tell you.
Right, isn't that a fundamental of discourse, though? Like, you pick and choose your argument, even in studies. Sometimes studies are like very bent. Like tobacco industry was really good at creating studies that supported their position because all the data, they didn't lie about the data. They just set up the conditions.
Concealed it.
Well, no, they set up the conditions of the study that in the end they knew it would be favorable for them.
That's that's what I do, right? Get this.
Yeah.
So I can ask somebody the same question 3 ways. You ask them the same question 3 ways by the way that you position the question. You manipulate words. It's word manipulation. And so what a lot of these companies do is they'll ask 100 questions or 50 questions. Say, hey, we're going to give you a $4 coupon for 30 minutes of your time to go through 50 questions. They ask 50 questions, but they literally ask like, I don't know, let's say 10 questions, or let's say they ask 20 questions like 2 different ways for the most part. So 60 questions, they give you $5 coupon off whatever it is. They ask one question 5 different ways. They ask, so many different questions, and then what they do is they manipulate the way the question is worded so they get an outcome, and they give you like A, B, C, D, and you select it, right? Well, all I have to do is present one of those stories. So I could get 5, 6 stories out of all of those questions on that survey. What matches my strategic marketing initiative? What matches that? I'm not lying to somebody, but I'm also not giving them all the facts.
Right.
I'm going to give them let's say, of the 60 questions, you're going to give them 12, right? So you're going to give them a fifth. 20%, your top 20% that matches your fucking story. You tell them, well, most people said this, this, and this. This is what our fans think, blah, blah, blah. This is what people think in general, blah, blah, blah. You can manipulate it any way you want, but for the most part, and the reality of it is, people don't know those other fucking 50 questions that were asked.
Right.
They don't know what the answers were. So... But legally, they have to provide that information. So, again, most people don't think, okay, you're looking at, let's say, politically, because most people are going to look at political polls. They're not going to look at Ragu Bertoli. They're not going to fucking look at, like salsa fucking polls, do like mild fucking, medium spicy. They don't fucking care. But political polls. You look at a political poll and they say, this was one in favor of A versus B. Okay. Well, most people are like, oh, fuck. Well, A won. Okay, A won. But then they don't realize that, they took a poll of, 100 people. And 70 people of those 100 sided with A.
Right.
But only 51 of those people sided with A after the debate. So technically, the majority of A sided, but there was also 10, 20% of the people from A who actually switched to B.
Well, plus 2, you can't, there's the integrity of it. Because if I poll 1,000 people and I want to say that, I want to do a position, I could say, 99 out of 100 people agree with me. Even though I polled 1,000 people and only 99 out of 1,000 actually agreed with me, but I can cut that survey size down.
Technically, that's a lying because it still has to be a percentage point, right? So you can't lie and say 99 out of 100 because
but technically you can take the parameters and go, 100.
Okay. That's true. Oh, yes.
Yeah, this is our sampling.
Yes.
This is the sampling of the study.
Yes. You could say 99 out of 100 people. You could technically say
that 100 is part of 1,000. So.
Let's say 9 out of 10 people who answered the one question that definitely reflected your opinion or your premise when it came to whatever the topic was, right? Yes, technically you could say 9 out of 10 people say this versus this,
right?
But we also don't know that you asked a question that was counter to that, and we actually got a 10 out of 10 where people said, but maybe I don't agree with that, but I agree with certain parameters of that. You know what I'm saying? So data in itself, I always tell people, hey, be very cautious when you tell me about a poll.
Right.
Because I work on polls. I know how data works, and I will ask. I used to work on like a market research committee for 2.5, almost 3 years. And the way that we would manipulate words, the way that we would ask questions, and we would format our surveys, it was existential, and it was important enough for us to take the time and charge the amount of money that we did to make sure that we got the outcome that we wanted.
Right.
So you target a certain demographic, you target a certain product, you make sure that the way that you ask the question is going to get the outcome, and if not, you reword that same question 3, 4, 5 times, and then they're going to answer it, and you give them different outcomes. But at the end of the day, those yeses and maybes all turn into a yes and a maybe, and if you streamline that story, that's exactly what you get. And you're not lying, and you can't get caught for false advertising. I know how it is. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
And it comes with everything, political, everything. And I guess like the main overall fucking like theme of this is fucking do your research.
Exactly.
Don't
buy
be manipulated.
everything.
Don't buy everything.
Exactly. Even
bullshit.
From authority figures,
they're all bullshit.
Exactly.
They're all fucking fake. Anybody who I look at like our political figures and I'm thinking, okay, this guy's got a master, maybe a PhD. It's not a lot of fucking work. All you do when you're a PhD is bullshit your way through 2 years of fucking research, and you do another 2 years of work. I've been in school long enough. I've done enough fucking work. I get it. The only thing they know how to do is manipulate people, their feelings, their emotions, their passions. That's how it is, and that's how we are controlled. And at the end of the day, I think as given who we are and reverting back to some of the information on the first part of the show, we only know what we know.
Yeah.
And we are going to be manipulated until we are able to reach out and recognize that there are other things out there that will...
Well, that's breaking the binary thinking, because our world now, like, we're just being trained. It's black or white. It's Coke or Pepsi. It's Chevy or Ford. It's Honda or Volkswagen. It's, whatever. Like, my world, it's Ari or red. And it's like, there's more choices than this.
There are.
Like, you don't have to, focus on two. There's not just Democrat and Republican. Like, what about the person? Like, aren't you thinking about the person?
I don't care. I didn't even vote. I don't vote. And I feel bad about it, but at the end of the day,
feel bad.
I don't feel bad. Because I'm not going to vote for something that I don't 100% believe in and that I can't back up. Because I'm somebody who is 100% authentic. If somebody asks me a question and I don't have an answer, fuck, I don't know. Let me find out. Let me make sure that I fucking have an answer for you. But if they do ask me and I do have an answer, I got enough to back up my reasoning, and I believe that I'm somewhat intellectual. I believe I'm smarter than intellectual, and by that I mean I believe I put a lot more time and effort into like what I know, because I don't have the ability to automatically connect with it. Does that make sense? Yeah. It's like you get the people who are highly intellectual, somebody who's super smart, they're on the same level of understanding, right? But it's like somebody who's super smart was like, fuck, I had to read like 10 books. I had to fucking like spend 2-3 years of my life figuring it out. I get this. I'm passionate. I love this. Somebody who's highly intellectual would be like, yeah, I just fucking get it. Like, it just makes sense. Like, it just connects. I'm like, all right, this is what I understand based on my experiences, blah, 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 blah. Totally different. I'm somebody who's smart. I've worked my ass off to be where I'm at with the way that I understand things, perceive things.
Well, I think that's natural. I don't think you manifest that out of the world. Like, it just exists. I mean, you can nurture those things, but,
sure.
But
some people do just get it. Like, their brains connect mathematically or whatever it is, like,
and we all do that
connect
on a certain level.
Yes.
To whatever it is, whatever our passions are, we connect to in a way. Like, my passion is not astrophysics, but to those people who can think in terms of astrophysics, they get it, like I get stuff in ways that other people don't, I have a very mechanical brain. I can see how things work immediately, and I can just get in there and like deal with things quickly. And so I've always centered myself around that, the aviation world is exactly like that, and everything I've done. So it's just like everything in our lives, we're capable of just connecting in those ways. So it's just our brains. So whatever it is in your brain, like connects with the things that you're going to connect with, and I'm going to connect with the things that I connect with, and it's just going to make sense. And so from the outside, we could look and go, oh, wow, that person gets it like so quickly. I wish I could do that. Well, they look at us and go, oh, wow, that person connects on or gets it, and I wish I could do that. So, like you're talking about, like getting it and other people getting it. It's just different, and like everybody's looking at each other like, I wish I could do that, but
but as long as you surround yourself with people who are like, I wish I could think about it like that. And if you surround yourself with people like that and they think about it differently, you're going to be so much better.
Exactly. Like I don't want to surround myself with people who think exactly like me.
No,
I want differing opinion. I want discourse. I want people to, completely disagree with
challenge
me.
You.
Exactly. Challenge me and call me out on my bullshit sometimes because I'm full of a lot of it. So.
You are full of bullshit. I'd call you out, but fuck, I'm totally intrigued by you. You're so much fun. This is the second part. This is the second episode, basically. Because we're like an hour and 20 minutes into this other show.
I know. Like, when are we going to cut?
This is a time warp, I'm telling you. This is a goddamn time machine in this place, man. I have so much fun. We're going to have you back for episode 3.
I know, right?
Where can people, do you want people to follow you? That's your call. You can give yourself shout out to anybody.
I don't really care. Like I'm an old woman. I'm a Luddite. I barely use social media, but I do have a website, and that's amandabethcarroll.com. And it's where you can find any information on my cinematography.
So feminine. I fucking love it.
Yeah.
Okay. So we got Amanda Beth Carroll. I love that middle name, by the way.
Yeah.
Beth has always been one of my favorite names.
Oh.
Yeah, it's very old. It's very traditional, and I think it's Irish.
Elizabeth? I don't know.
Oh,
well,
wait.
it's
Beth.
So my
Elizabeth would be more English.
Yeah, so that's my middle name is Elizabeth, but like when I was developing a website, it was Beth.
Yeah, Beth is a lot easier than
so
Elizabeth. Because you can do Elizabeth with S, Z, E's, A's. There's a lot of ways to spell Elizabeth, but there's only one way to spell Beth. Yeah, and you have to think of the best way to make sure everybody can fucking figure it out, right?
Exactly.
It's marketing yourself. All right. Fucking Amanda. I loved you. God, this was so much fun.
I know. I can't wait to come back.
I know. Well, the fake intermission that we had on the first episode. All those people were bummed, but all right. Well, make sure that you subscribe. Give us 5 stars. Pass the episode along. Go to rhinorush.com, channel 99, CHANNEL15. I'm sorry, CHANNEL 9915. Get stacked up. Get jacked up. Get hooked up on some fucking Rhino Rush. And if anything else, have a wonderful rest of your day. Fuck yeah.